So it is the 15th of December, and from today, millions of parents will have children at home for at least the next 6 weeks as school holidays begin. But of course, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many concerned parents are planning to keep their kids indoors or at home, not going out, venturing out to malls and that kind of thing. So how do you keep the kids occupied and avoid complaints about boredom? With the Omicron variant in our midst, the usual activities like trips to the movies are, of course, quite risky. Parents will probably try to avoid those kinds of trips. Human potential and parenting expert Nikki Bush is our next guest. She's the author of Future-Proof Yourself and Future-Proof Your Children, or your child. She joins us now for some tips on keeping children positively occupied. Nikki, always great to have you with us on the program. Welcome this morning. And, you know, I want to perhaps begin with this, and I think many parents will relate. Your children are on school holidays. You might be having a break as well over the December period. Parents themselves are exhausted after the year that all of us have had. How do we now sort of get in the spirit of keeping our kids occupied?
Good morning, Michelle. It's wonderful to be here with you and to share with our parents who are possibly at home, as you say, with their children. And I just want to say that this is the time where simple is good and taking it slow is even better. And so I'm going to share some ideas with you this morning about how to make fun out of nothing with your children, because there really is magic in some of the most mundane things. Remember, we are raising children in a high-tech world where they're surrounded by screens, where they no longer know what making a mud pie is. And actually some of the old-fashioned retro stuff is actually quite magical and exciting for them. And so we're going to talk about a whole load of things, but let's first kick off with why making fun out of nothing is so important. In an era where children are surrounded by boxed games or screens that prompt them to do one thing or another, when they make fun out of nothing, and we're going to give you some examples now, they're being resourceful. They're being resilient, and these are some of the key skills for future-proofing children for the changing world of work. And also, we don't always have to be buying things. We can make fun out of things that we have in our homes anyway. So these old-fashioned ideas can create excitement and be a source of magic, wonder, and surprise. And I think often we are scared of allowing our children to be bored. But let's kick off with some fun ideas, shall we, Michelle?
Please, please, and I'll be taking notes as well.
Okay, so how about making a wine glass thing? Okay, so I'm going to... I've dipped my fingers in water, and it's always interesting to see if one can do this on demand, because I was able to do it before the show started. Can you hear?
I can hear. I can.
Okay, now different sized glasses are going to make completely different sounds. So all I did was I dipped my fingers in water, and then you rub against the rim of the glass. And children find it magical, you know. So can you imagine you're sitting at the Christmas table and everyone's got different sized glasses? They could be making a whole orchestra of sounds.
I love that.
So fascination is a brilliant parenting tool to distract your children from their boredom. Now, one of the things that the traps we fall into as parents is actually worrying about our children getting bored, and yet when they're bored, that's when they come up with creative ideas. So let's not panic about boredom, but we do need to give our children just a wee bit of direction. So now I want to show you how to help your children to create these crystal-edged glasses. So this can also be useful if you're going to be having some Christmas celebrations or some entertainment. And all you do is you take your glasses, wine glasses or tumblers, and you dip them into some egg white. Okay? So that's what you do, into the egg white, just to dampen the edge of the glass. You can do it with water, but it doesn't create a nice, neat rim. It often drips.
Okay.
And here I've got jelly powder, and now I'm going to put my glass into the jelly powder, and hey presto, we've got the glasses that have crystal edges. And you know they go hard, and then your children will actually suck on them at the dinner table.
And obviously the jelly... Nikki, the jelly comes in different flavors, and I imagine that if you dip, depending on whether it's raspberry flavor or I don't know what the green flavor is now, it'll change color as well.
Yeah. So this is the green one.
Okay.
Put it that way. Oh, no, there we go. This is the green one. With the egg white, it doesn't go a bright color.
Oh, it doesn't.
If you dip water, then you will get a bright color. So experiment. And that's part of making fun out of nothing, is to experiment. This is part of what children will learn by doing these kinds of activities, is we'll try with the egg white. We'll try with the water. Let's see what happens. You'll get a neater ring with the egg white. You'll get a colorful ring with the water. So, and that's a great thing for children to do. And we need to see children creating fun out of nothing where, for example, I watched my child, my youngest child, when he was about 9. We were in a parking lot, a dirt parking lot, waiting for his older brother. And he and a friend found 2 of those parking beacons and an empty 2-liter Coke bottle and a stick. And they played cricket. They played cricket by throwing the bottle and hitting the bottle with the stick and running between these 2 parking beacons. Now, that's really making fun out of nothing. Creating something where there wasn't something before. And then something like bubble gum can be really fun. Kids love bubble gum, and they love learning how to blow bubbles. So you can have a competition. Who can blow the biggest bubbles between your children or children and their mates?
Yeah.
You might have some stale rolls in the house. Now, you don't have to throw them away. If you've got kids around, get them into the kitchen, cut them in half, get them to spread them with butter, sprinkle with sugar, stick them under the grill and let them caramelize. And I promise you, they will be eating these as their tea time treat. And they will go like, who knew? Who knew we could do this? So these are some of the really basic things that we can do with our children.
Yeah. Nikki, there's another, if you're talking about, sort of cooking-related ideas to keeping your children busy, another one is, if given that it's coming up for Christmas as well, if you don't want to make the biscuits yourself, you can get Christmas biscuits that aren't decorated and just make some easy icing with some icing sugar and just a little bit of water, some food coloring. Get them to decorate the Christmas biscuits as well.
Absolutely, but I've got one better for you here on the biscuit side of things, is that you can create stained glass biscuits at this time of the year. So you make your cookie dough, you roll it out, your kids cut them with the cutters, and then you cut a hole in the middle, and you take those hard-boiled sweets, those sparkles, you crush them up, and you put a teaspoonful in the middle where the hole is. Put them in the oven to bake, and of course the hard sweets melt. And they create a clear stained glass piece. And if you remember to make a hole in the top of the biscuit, you can then thread string or ribbon through the hole, and now, hey presto, you've got decorations for your tree. So I love creating things where it can be multi-purpose. Firstly, we're keeping our kids busy. We're engaging their enthusiasm and their imagination and creativity, but we're also creating something useful at the same time. So, Michelle, some parents are going to have to work over the next week while their kids are on holiday.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So how do we keep these children busy? And I was running a 2-hour parenting masterclass online for a large corporate the other day. And the kids were already on holiday, and this little girl popped her face into the window, onto the screen, just before her mum, who was hosting the session, started. And we were going to be busy for 2 hours, which was quite a long session. And I asked her what her name was, and she said, I'm Nicola. And I said, Nicola, what are you going to do while your mum is busy for the next 2 hours with me? And she said, I don't know. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you an idea. This is something that you can do while mum is busy. And you see, these craft activities actually just take a bit of paper, a stapler, scissors, a punch, sticky tape. Kids love stationery. So I said, I want you to take an A4 piece of paper, and I want you to fold it in half, and then I want you to fold it into quarters. So that's what she did. And I said, now we're going to make paper lace. And I showed her with a pair of scissors what you can do, and I've already started one here for you this morning. So on the folds, you cut out triangles or curves. Let's do one in the center here. Let's cut another one over here. And so what we're doing is we're creating paper lace. Let me open this up and show you what I've created. Isn't that awesome?
Children will love that.
Children don't know how to do this. So you, as a parent, will be the source of magic, wonder, and surprise by teaching them how to do this. Well, that little girl continued playing with paper and scissors for 2 hours while her mum was busy. She came back onto the webinar and showed me what she had created at the end of 2 hours. And she had a pile of stuff. And so there's a sense of, I am, I can, I will, and the children learn that they can be the source of their own happiness. And there's a huge sense of satisfaction that comes out of making stuff by yourself. And I think satisfaction is underrated. We talk a lot about success, but what about the feeling of satisfaction that you can get by doing stuff and creating stuff?
Absolutely. And Nikki Bush, before we let you go, it's also, you know, as I said to you when we started off our interview, it's a difficult time perhaps for parents to come up with the kinds of ideas that you've given us this morning, because parents themselves are tired as well. But this is the time, as you say, for your children to find that little bit of wonder in cutting up a few pieces of paper and making paper lace, and for you to spend some quality time watching them do that.
Well, look how easy this is. This is a paper chain made out of scrap paper from my computer with a stapler. Just show your kids how to cut strips of paper, how to staple them together to make a paper chain. This can become a Christmas decoration if you use green paper, red paper, and don't forget those toilet rolls.
Yeah.
You can get your kids making them into Christmas crackers for the table. And my ultimate is, of course, the paper aeroplane. This is a paper folding activity. If you want to know how to fold a paper aeroplane, just go to nikkibush.com and put paper plane into the search, and you will find the paper folding plan for this. But look at the fine motor coordination, the problem solving, the spatial planning, and just the fun. Now your kids can have competitions of who can throw their paper plane the furthest. And the more balanced your plane is, so it's a science experiment, it's engineering, the further it's going to go.
Wonderful. Some practical ideas for you this morning to keep your kids busy over the next 6 weeks. Nikki Bush, as always, a pleasure talking to us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. She is the author of the books Future-Proof Yourself and Future-Proof Your Child. Nikki, thanks again for your time.